Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, the scene of the opening round of the 16-race 1985 World Motor Racing Championship. 25 cars on the grid, several changes since last year as drivers have changed teams, but on pole position it's the Ferrari of Michele Alboreto, alongside him the Williams Honda of Keke Rosberg. On row 2 of the grid, 2 Lotuses, Elio De Angelis, the Italian, in number 11, and the young Brazilian newcomer to the team, Ayrton Senna, in number 12. This is Niki Lauda, the new world champion, who will start from 9th position on the grid. It's a 3.12 mile circuit, and it's very, very hot indeed, 38 degrees centigrade. It's also very humid, and there are doubts not only about driver endurance, because often heat exhaustion is a problem here at Rio, but also about the life of the tyres, and certainly most of the front runners are expecting to make mid-race pit stops for fresh tyres. Another driver change is the number 2 in the Brabham team, this car here, number 8, which is the Frenchman François Hainaut. And right at the back, a completely new team to Grand Prix racing from Italy. This is Minardi, with their driver Pierluigi Martini. 25 cars lining up. No Tolmans here because they've had to withdraw due to shortage of tyres. No ATS because that team has withdrawn from Grand Prix racing also. As usual, the start is a red light followed by a green, and at the green, the best start of all comes from the white car on the outside of the front, which is the Finnish driver Keke Rosberg, who puts his Williams in the lead. But his teammate Nigel Mansell collides with the Ferrari of Michele Alboreto and spins into the fences before they even reach the first corner. Then he has trouble finding reverse gear to try and get himself out again. Meanwhile, Keke Rosberg has immediately pulled out a surprisingly big lead in the Honda-powered Williams. In second place, it's Michele Alboreto in the Ferrari. Third already from 6th position on the grid is Alain Prost's McLaren. Nigel Mansell at last gets going again, showering the marshals with dust and stones. 4th and 5th are the Lotuses of Ayrton Senna and Elio De Angelis. And in 6th place, it's the other Ferrari of René Arnoux. This is the leader, Keke Rosberg. The red car 27 is Alboreto. Then number 2, Prost. Number 12, Senna. Number 11, that's De Angelis. Niki Lauda also moving up from his 9th starting position in McLaren number 1. The reigning world champion always carries the number 1 in Grand Prix racing. At the end of the first lap, Keke Rosberg has an extraordinary 2.5 second lead, which is an enormous margin to pull out at the end of a first lap. But thereafter, Alboreto starts to close. That's Derek Warwick in the Renault, well down the field. So, as Rosberg leads the race, Alboreto starts to close up a little bit in second place. Prost is still 3rd. Senna still 4th. De Angelis still 5th. But Nelson Piquet, the former world champion, the Brazilian, spins his Brabham on lap 2 and parks it and retires from the race. Under braking, Alboreto closes up on the leader. Prost goes with him, so that now the first 3 cars are very close. The problem is a turbocharger for Keke Rosberg, and in a puff of white smoke, his race is over. Alboreto goes through to lead in the Ferrari. Prost is right with him in second place, and poor Keke Rosberg, having led the race from the start, has to splutter back to the pits in a cloud of smoke. Ayrton Senna also goes past, into 3rd place. 4th is De Angelis. 5th now a closing Niki Lauda. So it's Ferrari, McLaren, Lotus, and already Lauda has made up a further place, because Niki Lauda is now 4th, Elio De Angelis 5th, and René Arnoux 6th. Now Lauda continues to pounce and goes past Ayrton Senna into 3rd place. Meanwhile, Prost is pushing the leading Ferrari relentlessly, and coming past the start-finish straight, he dives past to take the lead. So now it's McLaren leading for Prost, Alboreto second in the Ferrari, Niki Lauda third in his McLaren, and fourth Ayrton Senna. A collision between this car, the Alfa Romeo of Riccardo Patrese, and one of the Ligiers driven by Jacques Lafitte, is followed by Niki Lauda coming into the pits with an electrical ignition problem. His race is run, and although he does a further lap later on, he's never in contention again and retires completely. Now the routine tyre stop start. A very quick, neat stop for the leader Alain Prost, lasts barely 10.8 seconds, and he goes out again without losing the lead. Following him into the pits comes second man Michele Alboreto in the Ferrari. His pit stop is just as quick, and he too holds his second place. Ayrton Senna makes his routine pit stop and goes back into third place, but later on comes back in with an engine problem. He too is suffering from faulty ignition, and so the Brazilian hero, to the disappointment of the crowd, ends his first race for Lotus in the pits. And now there is very little opposition for Alain Prost. He's comfortably out in front. Michele Alboreto is a distant second for Ferrari, and with the retirement of Ayrton Senna and of course of Niki Lauda, it's Elio De Angelis in a distant third place. The other Ferrari of René Arnoux suffered a setback when it collided with the Ligier of Andrea De Cesaris. De Cesaris retired on the spot, but Arnoux struggled back to the pits with a punctured rear tyre, rejoined the race well down, and then fought back to retake fourth place. So now it's McLaren first for Prost, Ferrari second for Alboreto, third is Elio De Angelis' Lotus, fourth is the other Ferrari of René Arnoux. In fifth place now is the Renault of Patrick Tambay, although he is 2 laps down, and in sixth place, also 2 laps down, the sole surviving Ligier of Jacques Lafitte. So Alain Prost starts the new season as he ended the old one with a win. He won the last 2 races of last year, and he's now winning the first race of this year. And McLaren have now won every Grand Prix since the midpoint of last season, last July. 8 Grand Prix on the trot. So comfortable is Alain Prost's lead that he's able to slow right down in the closing stages to preserve his car. And the second car in the picture now is the second-placed Ferrari of Michele Alboreto. And at the flag, Alain Prost was less than 4 seconds in front of Alboreto. But he didn't have any problems. He was just reading his pit signals carefully and making sure that he preserved his car all the way to the final checkered flag. A typically calm, relaxed and professional drive from Alain Prost, who has never yet won the World Championship, but last year won 7 Grand Prix and only lost the World Championship by half a point. So here comes Prost to open the 1985 World Championship season with a splendid win and 9 championship points. The McLaren mechanics dance with delight in the road. There is Prost finishing. There finishing is the Ferrari of Michele Alboreto. And a lap down, Elio De Angelis comes home third for Lotus. 2 laps down, René Arnoux' Ferrari is fourth. Patrick Tambay's Renault is fifth. Jacques Lafitte's Ligier is 6th. McLaren lead the Constructors' Championship with 9 points, but only 1 point ahead of Ferrari, who with their 2 finishers have 8 points. On the rostrum, Prost in the middle, Michele Alboreto on the left, and on the right, in the black suit, Elio De Angelis. Next round, Portugal, the Portuguese Grand Prix in Estoril,